Celtics fans, the Eastern Conference Finals gets going tonight, and if you want to stay up to date with the latest news and rumors for your Boston Celtics, both within this playoff series and on into the offseason, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Most importantly, if you want the Celtics to win and advance to the NBA Finals, hit that big red subscribe button. And with that being said, let's go ahead and preview Celtics versus Heat. You're watching Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am Harrison Graham, here to preview the Eastern Conference Finals as the Boston Celtics are set to take on the number one seeded Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference. Heat in Game 1, 2-point favorites, over-under set at 204. So, like I think, and Vegas and I on the same page here, some brawl type of games, low 100s, two great defensive teams that are not afraid to get in your grill with several players on each team willing to do that. So who you got in this series? We'll break down some key matchups, some keys to victory and stuff like that for the Boston Celtics. But who do you got in this best-of-7 matchup? Type BOS for the Boston Celtics, type MIA for the Miami Heat. Let us know down in the comments section. So Boston, after that disastrous Game 5 where Marcus Smart just completely melted down in the final moments, showed great resilience in Game 6s and in Game 7. Boston won Game 6 at Milwaukee behind just an all-time performance from Jayson Tatum, 46 points and 9 rebounds. In that one, the defense was spectacular as well, and it was even better in Game 7, holding Milwaukee to 81 points. Sure, Giannis had 25 and 20, but I think he was like 9 for 25 from the field or something like that. Defense, defense, defense. That's been the calling card for the Celtics all year long, and it was true in those past two games where you had to win to stay alive. I thought the Celtics showed great resiliency, great bounce back, great resolve to stay together after that meltdown at the end of Game 5. Because make no mistake, it was a meltdown at the end of Game 5, mostly from Marcus Smart. But they bounced back. Ime Udoka believed in these guys, and they're back in the conference finals. Now, speaking of Marcus Smart, report on Monday, I'm sure we'll get something later today, is that he is questionable for Game 1 with a mid-foot sprain that he apparently suffered in Game 7 against the Bucks. Questionable for Game 1, so we'll see if he gives it a go. Obviously, this will be something to monitor. Now, based on who Marcus Smart is, the way he's built, I would think that he will likely play. But if it's a legitimate sprain, I mean, you got to think that he's going to be at least hampered a little bit. So obviously not ideal for your best defensive player, the defensive player of the year in the NBA, to suffer a foot sprain at this stage in the playoffs. So we'll monitor this heading into Game 1, but obviously I think it's something to monitor throughout this series to see how much it does, if at all, hampers him against the Miami Heat. What is your level of concern over Marcus Smart's injury? Scale it from 1 to 10. 1 being not concerned at all, 10 being, oh, you're terrified, this is going to be a huge problem. I mean, I'm at like a 3, 4. I'm not overly concerned, but I'm concerned enough where I'm going to keep an eye on this, especially here in Game 1, if he does play, to see how he's moving around, if he's impacted at all on either side of the floor. Definitely going to keep an eye on this. Scale it from 1 to 10, your level of concern over Marcus Smart's injury. Now, Robert Williams was not listed on the injury report after he did not play in Game 6 or 7, was available for Game 7, but the Celtics did not need him and not listed on the injury report, so I expect him to be back full throttle, get ready to go here for this Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see if the Celtics limit his play at all, especially due to the resurgence of Grant Williams, who we'll talk about later on, or not even resurgence, I guess just arrival. I mean, what he's been doing has been unbelievable, but nice to have Robert Williams in the fold because when you're going up against Bam Adebayo, you need as many bigs as you can possibly have. Now, if you want to go bet on the Eastern Conference Finals or the Western Conference Finals, which get going on Wednesday night, BetUS is the place to go. Go to chatsports.com/bet to create a account with the best sportsbook partner in the game. Promo code chat125 gets you 125% deposit bonus. We have NBA title odds. Celtics, the second favorites behind the Golden State Warriors right now at plus 200. Put down $10 if they win the championship. You'll get your initial 10 back plus an additional $20. Mavericks all the way down there at plus 650, where the Warriors up there at plus 125. So NBA title odds, if you want to go bet on them or go bet on Game 1, chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is chat125. Let's get into some keys to victory for the Celtics as they take on the Miami Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. Jayson Tatum has to be the best player in the series. He needs to be better than Jimmy Butler. I think that's going to be key number one in this entire series is Tatum's got to be the best player on the floor. The team with the best player almost always wins these playoff series. That's how these things go. You look at the stat comparison, it's kind of crazy how similar a lot of the numbers actually are for these two. Points per game within half a point of one another. Assists per game within 0.7 assists of one another. Butler's had more rebounding. He's actually been more efficient from the field. Tatum's been a little bit better from three, but both of these guys have been the clear number one guys on their teams, which is what you would expect. If you're the Miami Heat, you expect Jimmy Butler to go out there, give you 25, 30 a night, and defend like a dog like he normally does. If you're Jayson Tatum, if you're the Celtics, you expect Tatum to go get you 30 a night, and that's what these guys have done. And if you're Boston, you need Tatum to be better than Jimmy Butler in this series if you're going to take down Miami. Now, who do you guys think is the better player overall in this series? Type T for Tatum, type B for Jimmy Butler. I think the better player will win this series, and that is to be determined as we get closer and closer to Game 1. Key number 2, you got to win the three-point shooting battle. I think this feels like one of those obvious ones, but I think it's definitely true. We saw Miami go back to Duncan Robinson a little bit in that series against Philadelphia. I'll be curious to see if they utilize him more to get more three-point shooting, as their shooting can be a little spotty at times, as Butler, has shot better in the playoffs, but he's not a huge three-point guy. Obviously, they have Tyler Hero. Boston, I think, should have the advantage here shooting the basketball, but I think you got to, at least make 2, 3, 4 more threes a night than Miami, because they'll probably win the battle in the paint more often than not. And then key number 3, stay hot, Grant Williams. Hello, that Game 7 performance was one for the ages for a role player, and he's been really good throughout the playoffs. He's been awesome. They drafted him out of Tennessee a couple of years ago, and he's just kind of been okay in and out of the rotation, but second half of the season started to figure things out, got more run in Ime Udoka's rotation, and here in the playoffs, he's had a few huge games, none bigger, of course, than that Game 7 win over the Milwaukee Bucks. He's hitting a lot of threes, 7 for 18 in Game 7. They're letting him shoot it. They're telling him to shoot it. He talked about that. I think he started 0 for 5, and they said, hey, keep shooting it, and obviously he hit 7 of his last 13, so that was good to see. He's been an X factor, and I think he's going to be an X factor in this series. If he can have a few big performances, that will go a long way for the Celtics advancing to the NBA Finals. So how many games do you guys think this series will go? Obviously 4, 5, 6, or 7. How long is it going to be? I think it's going to be at least 6 games. This feels like a series. It's going to be, a brawler type of series. It's got to be chippy. Defense is really going to stand out, and who can get key stops in the fourth quarter of these games will likely win each of these games. So how many games will this series go? Let us know in the comments. Appreciate you guys for watching today's episode of Celtics Today. Make sure you guys are subscribed. That way you can stay in the know with more updates throughout this series, plus some other rumors and news that will surface as they always do. We'll keep you guys up to date on the latest surrounding the Boston Celtics. I'm Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. We'll see you soon here on Celtics Today.